That's awesome. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, Cadet. That's awesome.
Mixties presents the Popcast.
Hey, my name is Brian, that is Shane, and this is the Popcast, and we are talking about Star Trek Discovery, Episode 5!
Woo! Episode 5. ESC.
Lasers, lasers, TIE fighter sounds. Shoo, shoo.
TIE fighter
Lens flare,
sound.
lens flare.
Oh, that's
Welcome
funny,
to the
dude.
Popcast, guys. Shane, whew, let's talk about that 1600 sub challenge, man, because we are almost at 1,000, which means we're getting close once again
Yes.
to the next milestone. And the last milestone was 800. And let me remind you what that prize was in case you forgot or you weren't watching. Siberia Winks got a paid night to go to the premiere of the new Star Wars coming out. I know we're doing a Star Trek review right now. She's gonna go see the brand new Star Wars movie. Paid dinner, paid goodies, paid theater, whole night covered by us, on us, for being awesome and winning the 800 sub challenge. So 1600 subs can be you. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be outstanding, outlandish, and out of this world. Shane?
Yeah, it looks like 1,600 subs is going to happen faster than anticipated, which is great. So keep it coming, and we'll just keep giving stuff away because that's how we roll.
Yes. So I say we get right into Star Trek Discovery, Choose Your Pain, Episode 5.
Okay.
Would you like to start off this party, Shane?
I think we should just get right into it. Anticipated, trying to find out what happened. Of course, last episode we left off, and I knew, I even gave a little bit of a precursor that we were going to have in the captain's seat, Lieutenant Saru, or First Officer Saru, in the captain's seat, and that's exactly what we got for this episode.
Yeah. And I gotta say, let me start off this whole thing by saying, I love Lieutenant Saru. That dude reminds me of Trek. Great character, great actor, great emoting. He was so awesome this episode, the way he took charge and he figured things out, the way other people might not have done that, and the way he shut people down too.
When he went against his character,
right?
You know, even though, yeah, he really went against his character, because I feel like his character would have been the kind of that wanted to save the man bear pig.
But not at the expense of his crew. He's captain now. He's got to do
right. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Is he would have been on the side of trying to figure out how to save the crew. He was kind of the opposite of Captain Lorca. But when he took on the mantle of leadership, he didn't allow anything to stop. He was correct in everything he said.
Right.
To do using that animal, you know, to the end of the mission that he needed to. Yeah. But I said animal specifically because, you know, he alluded to the fact of, I have, you know, what do you say, 135 souls on board that I need to take care of,
right? Versus
that one, you know, man bear pig animal.
Dude, when he told that doctor, when he was looking at both the doctor and Stamets,
mm-hmm.
Paul, the engineering guy.
Paul, yeah.
When he's looking at Paul and the doctor, and he goes, rehydrate it and get it back up. I have this many, whatever. Do you understand your order? And the guy was like, I cannot be. I wasn't talking to you.
He goes, I wasn't talking to you. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
And he went to Lieutenant Stamets and was like, will you obey my, you know, are you going to obey my order? Basically, he's like, yes, sir. And that was perfect.
And by the way, that was the right thing for Stamets to do, too.
Exactly.
And then we find out that he had a, you know, ace up his sleeve. Okay, let's start off with, obviously, we knew that Michael was going to be really worrying about this creature's man bear pig safety. We literally open with her in there, feeling its pain, and it's a dream.
You notice you have the you know, the I hate to say this, but I can't help it. Last episode we gave a really hard time about them attaching the nipple clamps to man bear pig, right? So I noticed this episode they kind of have them going in that general direction, but I would guess that Sonequa was like, listen, stop. Okay, I'm only going to go so far here, folks, and allow this to actually go down like this. So, but it looks painful what she's going through right now.
Yeah. Now, she's a human, she's not actually going through it as a dream. But I
Right.
like what Saru said. We have no idea how these people feel, what they feel pain for, and what it is. So we don't know. So she is convinced that the spore drive is harming Man Bear Pig or killing it. Now we're not calling it what it is. The Terrigrain. I just can't pronounce it, so I'm just gonna say Man Bear Pig. So ahead of
Well,
time.
I mean,
the creature-
we're all in on Man Bear Pig.
Man
And
Bear
I think
Pig. Okay.
Tardigrade. It's a tardigrade.
Tardigrade.
Yeah.
Just murdered
Just stick
that
with
word.
Man Bear Pig, bro.
I mean, it's based on the actual like space bears that we have here on our planet. So, and then we jump into
Yes.
a shot where the admiral is
Microscopic.
talking. What's that? Yeah, the microscopic little man bear pigs. The admiral is talking to Captain Lorca, and for some reason she's saying to slow down the blinking, and I'm sort of calling the spore drive thing just like blinking, like blink,
Okay.
blink,
Yeah.
blink. In video games, there's an actual ability to use called blink or flash, and that's basically what they're doing, teleporting from place to place. She's saying to slow it down. They'll pick up the pace until they can work out a more long-term solution to Man Bear Pig. I'm assuming that's why, right?
Yes, that's
Until
what. Yeah, that's basically what. And basically, Starfleet's saying, "Look, you're gonna kill this asset that we've got." So they're actually siding with Michael Burnham, and she don't even realize it.
Right. Okay, so
But Captain Lorca, by the way, that whole scene, Captain Lorca was extraordinarily uncomfortable
yeah,
with being told what to do.
yeah, he clearly has issues with this admiral, which was a doctor, and he clearly has a lot more power, I think, than we think he does.
Oh, we find out this episode he definitely does.
So we switch over to this weird. Not weird. I mean, this scene in the lunchroom where Tilly is feeling very self. She's feeling Michael's pain, and she's like, "Is it me? Am I the problem? I know you found another friend." That was weird.
She kind of set her up a little bit. She kind of guilted her, used her naive nature to kind of guilt her into basically telling her what she wanted to know. So that was kind of interesting about Tilly's character.
Right. And she explains her, trepidations behind Man Bear Pig being used as the spore drive navigator. Then we go back to the Admiral, and now there's a straight up, blunt, no nonsense conversation, no rank, no, formality.
Well,
Between
apparently they were friends at one time. So
Yes, between the Admiral and the Captain, and for whatever reason, he doesn't trust her, or doctors in general, and she's a doctor. That's very odd. So there's a backstory there where, who knows, maybe she cheated on him with a blue alien.
wrong show.
Oh, my bad, wrong show.
And she outranks him.
And she outranks him, and she tells him, get your eyes fixed because I don't trust doctors, and she basically lays it off. Look, why'd you bring Michael Burnham on board?
Yeah, it comes up.
And he throws out a Federation law, and basically, I don't remember exactly what the number was. Basically, it means that during wartime, he could bring whoever he wants on board.
Right.
And while he's legally correct, she had a good point that she is the mutineer, and a lot of people are like, why is this guy working with a mutineer, right?
Well, yeah, basically she started the war. A lot of people feel like she started the war.
Right. This guy, Lorca basically dismisses the Admiral. I mean, like, just get away from me. Just says what he
Well,
wants.
he actually says, "Are you uncomfortable that I have this much power, or that I have more power than you?" Something
Right.
to that degree.
And why would he
And-
have more power? That's the interesting question.
I guess because he's got the ship that makes the difference, and he's been given this, secret operation leadership. I don't know exactly why either, but apparently he gets control.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out, right?
It's coming. I mean, we're getting little bits and pieces. We find out later what he did to his last crew. Woo.
Right, which was gnarly. Okay, dude is on a shuttle. I'm not 100% sure as to where he's going. I guess he's
I think
going back to his ship.
Well, yeah, and I think we all assumed that they were just on the Discovery having this meeting, At least that's what I assumed watching it, and so I don't think they did a good job of kind of doing that. So I was caught off guard when they went from basically this meeting to now he's on a shuttle.
Right.
And he was basically, I guess, I'm assuming, coming back to his ship because now he gets captured and the admiral has to be like, oh, your captain's caught. So.
Yeah, and they kill the shuttle pilot like immediately. So they're there for Lorca, specifically for Lorca.
Yeah, he really should have a red shirt. We got to work into this.
Yeah. By the way, the guy in the cell, which we're gonna get to, if I had to bet at that moment, this guy's a red shirt and he's going to die, I would have put my 2 cars on it. Like,
okay, well, I got
100% positive he was gonna die. He was gonna be like just episode fodder, you know.
Well, I got to tell you, thanks to the Star Trek Discovery subreddit, we have a very fantastic thought process on that whole that other Starfleet character, and I'm going to get into it a little later.
All right. Well, when we get to that, we can talk about it. He leaves back his hypospray. Looks like
for his eyes.
For his eyes. That is hypospray, right? Or just looking at dropper or something.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, whatever it is.
That's what Star Trek calls it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Admiral shows up in hologram form, which guys, I know you're not gonna want to hear this. I hate the holograms. I just don't like it. I'm not gonna be able to get used to it. But what I can do is when it happens, I can imagine it's on a view screen. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a change that they've done that we're just gonna have to get used to, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I'm not gonna lie about it. I don't like it. I hate it. So. And she tells Lieutenant Suro he is now the acting captain because they have taken his captain and he should probably find him. So, obviously, Captain Lorca is a very needed asset to Federation, very important asset, and there's like, she's like, find him.
Why? Why do you think he's an important asset?
That's a great question. Because
I got an answer.
You implied that the ship was the asset, but maybe it's not just the ship.
The ship is the asset, but of course, in times of war, you want someone who is willing to do things that other people would not do, nasty, dirty things that maybe other people wouldn't do. So Lorca's value is in the fact that we learn in this episode the terrible thing he did to his last crew. He's willing to do anything.
Right.
So, and that's why he's so valuable.
And what's that quote? Sometimes good men do bad things for good reasons.
Yes. Depending on, I guess, what side you're on.
Right. I mean, in war, we were both soldiers. We were taught that, right? We were taught that sometimes the ends justify the means in times of war.
The ends justify the means. Yeah, that's
either to protect lives or just to protect your general way of life. So he's a soldier, right? That's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what side you're on, if you're fighting for the Allies in World War II, and you got that perspective, but I'm sure the Germans had the same perspective. Fighting against.
Right. And history is written by the victorious, right?
That's right.
Good point. But obviously Nazis are bad. Let's just be real clear there, okay?
What's that? Well, I'm just saying that bad. I mean, look, this show is set up for really terrible things to happen.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, basically hearing that you would kill your entire crew so that they don't get captured, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts. Okay, well, we get a great shot of Suru's fingers and those little overlay things that are coming out of his head. I remember there's a word for them, but I don't remember what it is.
I know, right?
I've been a lifetime Star Trek fan, but there's so many new things here that I'm not privy to yet. I should have started.
It'll take some time.
Writing it down, man.
It'll take some time for it all to sink in.
I love the makeup on Suru, man. It's like it's so detailed down. It's weird. Like, as much as I complained about the Klingon makeup the last episode, I love Saru's makeup. The hands, the webbed hands, the calcified fingers that look like they're kind of evolved from hooves. Yeah. The fact that when he walks into Michael's quarters, he has these like specialized boots where it's obvious the guy has hooves and not regular feet.
No, he's cool. He looks good. The makeup department did a really good job here with him.
And I gotta say, Doug Jones is such a boss, man.
He is playing his character extraordinarily well.
He pulls it off. I don't know if this show is going to get canceled or what's going to happen. Whatever happens, whatever version of Star Trek we have in the future, I really hope it includes Lieutenant Saru.
Cool.
So, Michael comes to Saru and says, look, we're killing the man-bear pig, and we can't use it anymore. And Saru basically says, yeah, it's not an option. We're going to use it until we find our captain at the very least, right?
Yeah.
And then we get back into the Klingon ship, and we get introduced to Harry Mudd.
Woohoo! It's Harry Mudd. We've been waiting for this.
Yes.
Played by the fantastic Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson is a boss.
Yeah, I mean, he is. He's just a boss. I mean,
so
how
good.
many great, fantastic shows has he been on? I mean, The Office.
I like his movies better than his shows.
He's great in everything he does.
Yeah.
He's a great Harry Mudd, too.
Yeah, he's great Harry Mudd. Perfect casting, honestly. As much crap as I give this show sometimes, casting was excellent, man. Casting
Yeah, and I
perfect
loved everything with Harry Mudd. Absolutely loved it. They grabbed they got the essence of the Harry Mudd character so well in this episode.
Yes, it was really good. The Klingons come in and they say, choose your pain. Apparently Harry Mudd picks... Basically, they start beating up a Starfleet guy.
Right, yeah, the other Starfleet guy.
They beat him to death and drag him out and leave Captain behind in the cell with Harry Mudd.
So a little criticism for me here, and I guess the more you learn about the character, the more you start to figure it out. I thought it was really odd that Captain Lorca didn't at least make a move to try to protect the Starfleet officer, but I got to remember that this is not your standard Starfleet captain, so... in the beginning of that, I was like, why isn't he at least trying to make a move? I know the other Klingon had a weapon on him or something. Take a hit in the head, but at least you tried.
Right.
But that's not who Captain Lorca is.
Yeah, that is it. He's no Picard or Kirk or Sisko or Janeway or Sulu.
Oh, wait. We were forgetting Scott Bakula.
Or Scott Bakula. Or even Worf, I think
Captain
Worf
Archer
was Captain once, or even Riker. Captain
Which
Archer.
we got. Did you get slides on Saru going through his having moments of self-doubt?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay, so I don't know if it already happened yet, but Saru basically goes through this entire thing where he talks with Michael one-on-one. Now he's questioning his ability to be. He's questioning his captaining ability, right? He doesn't have confidence. And so he had the computer actually pull up up to this point in time, all the great captains of Starfleet. And number 2 on that list was Captain Archer.
Oh.
So, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I missed that. I'm glad that they included that, considering that most people treat Enterprise like it was like the ugly, step cousin you wish didn't come to the party.
Which just shows that, they're trying to stay in canon, and they did put it in alphabetical order. So when I say second, he was literally the second person on the list.
That's great. I like that. And I like that when the computer was like, so what do I do? And the computer's like, another option is to eliminate the distraction or whatever. And he's like, well, that's not a possibility.
That's not an option,
yeah. So we're back in the cell with Harry Mudd and Captain Lorca, and they have a conversation where Harry Mudd's like, look, man, it's dog eat dog. You're going to want to stick with me if you're going to survive. And Captain Lorca hates Mudd from like the gate. From like out the gate. Immediately.
Do you think so?
It looks like he does.
I couldn't tell. I thought she trusted him a little bit, or at least he was like kind of wanted to be able to trust him, but he did question the fact that he looked so good being in a prison cell.
Right, yeah. I didn't get any trust. I got like, I don't like this guy. Why am I stuck in this prison? What's up with him, right?
Or it could just be Captain Lorca being Captain Lorca. Who knows? We don't know what he likes.
Yeah, we don't know.
He seems to hate everything. So.
Yeah. So Michael and the doctor, they go to Lieutenant Stamets, and they're trying to convince him now that the man-bear pig is being harmed in some way. And Lieutenant Stamets replies, let's fix the problem, basically. Thank you for calling me brilliant. I know I'm brilliant, but you're the reason we,
Well, I thought it was really funny here. The doctor says, I don't know how to talk to him. Right? And
Right.
of course, this goes to the reveal at the end of the episode. And so you don't realize anything. And then Michael's like, I got this. So she goes up and basically starts just, massaging his ego.
Right.
But of course, Stamets, while he likes it, he's on to her and he's like, what do you want from me?
Right. Yeah. What do you want,
So-
man? Yeah. Well, she convinces him though to work on an alternative to Man Bear Pig.
Right. Completely disobeying Lieutenant Saru.
Again, disobeying
Again.
another captain. Again. Yeah.
Again.
Not looking good on her. So we get back to the cell, and they find another human in that cell. That was weird to me. That cell looked pretty small, yet this guy's hiding behind a pipe or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was the guy that was getting his butt kicked before, so that wasn't clear. Was that supposed to be him who took a beating? This is Ash Tyler is this character's name, played by Shazad Latif.
Which apparently we're going to see a lot of because he survives and they give him a backstory and everything. So he's
Yes.
a legitimate character now.
He's a legitimate character, and I think it's time to talk about what are
and he's third bill. He's third billed on IMDb with 15 episodes.
Yeah, do you know? You notice how Harry Mudd, even for this episode, didn't even get in the major casting for this episode. You had to actually go to the cast list in alphabetical order to catch him,
Right.
which I thought was really weird.
But he is
But
in
I would-
5 episodes. Rainn Wilson's in 5 episodes.
Yeah, so he should definitely get a little better billing there.
Yes! 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 Yes!
And I just want to real quick go back to the Star Trek Discovery subreddit, and for the scene that's happening right here with Ash, Maker Morgan, the Redditor, had this fantastic theory that basically Ash is Bok, the Klingon,
Really?
who is going to make a great sacrifice, right? So what they're saying is basically is that the Klingons have genetically figured out a way to transform into human, and that's the great sacrifice, the everything sacrifice that Bok is going to do.
Using
Yeah.
the Nguyen Singh, eugenics thing, right? What was it called? The augment virus.
Right.
From
So
Enterprise.
basically, So this one house must apparently have the ability. This is the theory, and I think it's a great theory. It was the first one I read. I think there's a lot of people talking about this on the subreddit, but Maker Morgan was the first one that I really felt like explained it, and I thought it was fantastic. So shout out to that person.
It's good they're not having the guy that plays the Klingon play the human because we would have figured
It
it
would
out.
have been a giveaway. Yeah, if that's the case, if this is correct, and I would have done the same thing, not had the same actor.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, that actor was on After Trek, if you saw that as well.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
You don't like the Klingon, and you don't like the actor.
Actor does. He's just like, ugh. I don't like him very much. Don't know anything about him. But just like the way his demeanor was like. He was on After Trek, and it felt like he didn't want to be there.
He was a little standoffish and quiet.
Yeah. Like, I got contractually this nerd nonsense.
No. Well, yeah.
All right. Anyways, so that's a great insight. Thank you so much. We have this conversation between Lorca and Ash, where they basically explain each other's origins.
Yeah.
And for a minute there, I'm like, do they want us to identify with Ash Tyler so that they can kill him off and we'll feel something, or are they actually bringing this guy on as a regular because they're giving us so much information? And either they want you to feel something for this character so that when he dies, it has some weight, or this is their intro to this new character.
I thought it was going to be a test of the captain. I thought it was going to be a test for Captain Lorca on his humanity. And I think it ended up being a little bit of that. But you're right. I also think it ended up being a new character.
Right. So Harry Mudd uses this cool little pet,
Love that.
Stuart, to steal their little piece of cracker. And they have this great conversation as to why he distrusts and hates Starfleet. And of course, he's going to end up distrusting and hating them even more in a minute.
Right. He basically says the little people are tired of you guys up there deciding our fates.
Right. And back on the Enterprise. Oh my God, did I just say that? I'm sorry. The Discovery. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. Listen, it's hard not to associate Star Trek with Enterprise. It's tough.
Yeah. All right, back on the Discovery. Stamets, Tilly, and Michael are working on a solution for the Man-Bear-Pig relief. So I like this explanation between as like how the spores work. I know we got a little bit of that before, but they went into a little more detail this time. I still don't 100% understand how the plant exists in normal space, but the roots exist in subspace. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if anybody wants to trek that up for us and give us a little bit of scientific explanation down in the comments, be happy to check it out and learn a little bit from you guys.
Yeah, I would love to hear that. And then Tilly says, "That's flipping awesome," but she used the actual F word.
Yeah. It's funny because
how you feel about this, Shane?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was, going back to the subreddit for Star Trek Discovery. Another shout out to Tarusan, who had a post that was called "Anyone Else Caught Off Guard When They Dropped F-Bombs?" And I felt like another Redditor, Advocar, said, "I'm not going to get upset, but I thought it was unnecessary." I think that's kind of how it plays out best with me. Is I didn't feel like this was a necessary thing to do. It's not going to kill me, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why they felt like they did it. I think it was like, we're on CBS All Access. We can do it. So
I do what I want. I do what I want.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. So I'm not going to get upset about it, but I thought it was unnecessary. So shout out to both of those Redditors for those comments. By the way, Advocar got 15 points, upvotes on that comment, and the whole thread has 27 points. And there's people going back and forth. It's a very polarizing subject. There's some people
conversation.
There's some people who are like, yeah, I love that they did this. Finally, the real spoken word of how people really feel, which could be a very positive thing. So it goes both ways.
So this is how I feel about it. It doesn't offend me at all. What it does is I feel like it just further alienates Trek fans that are more conservative, like to watch this with their kids.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a little tough.
Star Trek wasn't conservative because, it was because it was on network television. Is the reason they didn't use curse words or show nudity. But that is also part of its success, because then you can. Like I said before, the very first episode of Discovery we reviewed, I said I used to watch this. Some of my earliest memories was watching Star Trek TOS with my father when I was very, very young. I was introduced to it at a very young age, and it became a part of my life. Where Trek is a part of my life. Kids can't. And maybe they really wanted to do cussing, but they couldn't because network television wouldn't allow them to. And they had ethics standards and all that they had to manner. Or maybe it was a good marketing decision, because the second you use FUCK twice or show nudity, is the second it's really not appropriate for children to watch.
Yeah, and I took my kids to the movies, the new timeline, the J.J. Abrams timeline,
Kelvin
timeline, and I felt I could do that. I watched this episode by myself, but I have watched previous episodes with my 8-year-old, and I'm so glad that I wasn't playing this when he was chilling with me, because I didn't see this coming, and it's so not Trek to me that it would have been embarrassing actually to be sitting there with him and have this happen.
Right.
Now
here's the deal. Even if we cuss in real, in IRL, doesn't mean we cuss around our kids. Like, adults can, might cuss, but doesn't mean they're going to be cussing around like their young nephews or, whatever. Right. It's not appropriate. So yeah.
I know my kids hear it. I know they get it, but yeah. I would rather it not happen. I don't want them to think it's okay because dad's participating in it, that now it's cool. And it's okay for me to just, have a filthy mouth whenever I want. I mean, I'm not putting all that on Star Trek, but this is why I say I'm not going to get upset about it, but I thought it was unnecessary. And
Right.
now, as we move forward, I will have to watch these without my child
Just
in
in case.
advance, just in case, and
So-
and basically fed it out.
Further diminishing their audience. So
Yeah,
they
at least
diminish
initially.
it by making sweeping changes to things. They diminish it by putting it behind a paywall, a CBS All Access paywall. And now, in addition to, they're letting the fans know that are watching it that this is not for kids.
Right. Which, yeah, okay. Got
So
it.
they keep shrinking that audience, right? Again, didn't offend me. I don't care.
Yeah, no
But it caught me off guard, and I thought, wow, that's not a good idea for their show. They could have used any other word there, and it would have been the same scene, or
It
they could have
didn't-
not had the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel very Trek to me, I guess, is the best way to put it. And then, that's what the showrunners kind of want. They want it to not be it's not your
Right.
grandfather's Trek. So,
I knew
They
when
could-
we sat down to record this that this scene was going to be a topic of conversation for us.
well, all I can say from the showrunner is mission achieved.
Mission accomplished.
It's
Like-
definitely
like
not
the showrunner said, this is not your
Yeah.
daddy's Trek. This is
Yeah.
definitely not.
mission accomplished.
Okay, now we're back on the ship, and we see this Klingon again. I forgot her name once again, but I'll get it. L'Rell.
yeah.
L'Rell, right?
If that's what yes.
Okay, and she's interrogating Captain Lorca. Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
Can you
that's
explain
exactly
this scene,
what's
Shane?
Well, basically, she knows that he comes from a ship that is able to zap in and zap out. I do have a little bit of a question about this whole thing. We find out a little bit later that how she got the information. So, which makes me wonder why they captured him in the first place. That's something we don't get in this entire episode, is how they knew where he was and how they were able to basically capture him before he got back to his ship.
That's a great question. Oh my god!
Right? Because she didn't get this information she's about to say until he was in the cell. Right? So, or maybe, I don't know, was it his eyesight that he gave away in the cell? I'm not sure what information he's talking about here, but basically she's saying, tell us where your ship is. She's trying to get it out of him. She's going to torture him by putting bright light in his eyes until he tells her what she wants.
Yeah, but that's a great question, though, Shane. How did she know he was on a shuttle heading back to his ship?
We
And
don't
where
know
it would
that.
be?
And we're not told.
Yes, and the purpose of capturing him seems to be to get Ash Tyler on board.
That's, well, if that theory is correct, which we're not exactly sure it is, how do they know? How do they know about this thing?
Right.
How do they know it was him? So, and what did he give away in the cell? I need to go back and watch it again, because he said, I gave a little bit of information to test Harry Mudd, basically.
About the
Test.
ship that can get in and out of, back lines or whatever.
So that was the information, right? So how did they know that he has eyesight problems?
Maybe they just I don't know.
Okay, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to break it down, but this is stuff that when you're writing it, there should be some sort of aha. This is how we know.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
I hate magic answers to any TV show. I hate magic. Ta-da!
Well,
And
if you know, please comment down below and let us know how.
Yeah, maybe I totally missed it. I was
Maybe
busy.
we both did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're back on Discovery and Captain Saru being boss. Literally.
look at he's like this. Show me the money.
He's like, why did you shut down the spore drive? And he has an argument with Michael where she just does whatever she wants. She disobeys him.
Yeah, she does. She just does whatever she wants, honestly.
Yeah, and then
Feels like it's in the best interest. She just does it.
he promptly sends her to her room and says,
Which, it was
Go to
very
your room.
much like
go to your room right now.
very much like the
about
conversation
what
I
you've
had
done.
with my 4-year-old yesterday. So
Right.
he did whatever he wanted. I sent him to his room. See, same
Right.
thing happened.
And then we're back on the Klingon ship, and we get a little shot of this Stewart guy who has
That
a
was cool.
bug. He has a bug in his
There's a bug on the bug.
a bug on the bug. What is that? The thorax of the bug? I don't know what it's called, but the body.
I'm gonna say it's his anus or thorax. Yes.
There's a bug inside the bug's anus.
Yeah, they just like shoved it up in there, kind of. I guess.
Yeah, and so we find out that Harry Mudd was basically spying on Captain and Ash
For the Klingons.
For the Klingons, and the Captain is not happy about it, and throws the bug against the wall. The bug survives somehow.
Yeah, they couldn't kill the bug because people would have gotten upset.
Back on the Discovery, Saru locates the Captain's whereabouts, and goes black alert and jumps to where he thinks the ship is. The jump clearly adversely affects Man Bear Pig.
Yes, shrivels up. I thought it died right there. I'm like, oh no, they did it now.
Yeah, because it shriveled up and I guess it expelled all of its water.
1% of water left.
And so it's in some kind of water-free hibernation. I bet this is based on the actual space bears that we have here on Earth.
I do not know enough about it for that to be true.
Yeah, I'm just assuming.
So somebody tell us.
Yeah, in the comments below, let us know if it's based on the actual Terragreen. What are they called?
Tardigrade.
Tardigrade. Okay, now, the Doctor and Stamets, they go to the Captain. They go, look, the creature is in a cocoon, in a hibernation state. It's in survivor mode. We're dead in the water. And Suru is like,
this is my favorite scene of the whole show.
Best scene of the show. Then hydrate it and get it working again.
Yeah. To which then he basically dismisses them and goes back to telling people what to do on the bridge until the Doctor chimes in again.
I cannot be privy to this, torture of an animal. And he goes, well, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. I love how the Doctor says it's not like waking somebody up from a nap. Yeah.
That best line was when he said, I wasn't talking to you. And then he looks at Stamets.
Yeah, because it was fantastic. And Stamets gives this look here, which I think is great, which, you can tell they're in collusion. But Stamets he's an officer. Well, they're both officers, but for whatever reason, Stamets decides he's going to.
Now, historically, doctors have been a little more insubordinate than other crew members, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So he says that he's going to listen to him. He's going to, as far as we know, he's going to hydrate Man Bear Pig, get him up and running again so they can jump before they get caught up by Klingons.
I do want to say before we move on that I am a little surprised that that Paul is willing to listen to Lieutenant Saru so much more when he argued so much with Captain Lorca. So I figured when Captain Lorca was out of the picture that that Lieutenant Stamets would be more, but apparently there must have been a huge effect on that last episode where they actually zipped in to kill Klingons and save the miners. Maybe he's now settled with the fact that this is what he needs to do. Do you think that was the change?
I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like Lorca and he likes Saru.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe he has a plan and he's feigning respect. I don't know. All right, so Klingons walk back into their cell. Back on the Klingon ship, by the way. Sorry, just in case you didn't notice the weird prosthetics. They go into the cell, and they say, choose your ping. Originally, Captain Lorca is about to point at Harry Mudd, but Ash Tyler's like, Captain, choose me, Captain, choose me.
Yeah, I was about to get mad, to be honest with you.
Right. Lorca chooses... Go ahead.
I was about to get mad because, I didn't want the writers to write an easy way out for the captain. I really wanted to test his character without it being like, okay, the person's basically making it okay for him to choose him. Right. I didn't want that to happen. But then, of course, I'm not disappointed.
They had a plan because they fought back and they kicked the Klingons' butts, took their weapons, and Mudd was like, ooh, well done. Please take me with you. And
yeah,
like,
but there is a little bit of a...
Go ahead.
No, bruh.
Nah, bruh.
There is a little bit of issue with this is, how easily the humans are able to dispatch these Klingons is kind of tough to swallow. It's happening really frequently, and the hand-to-hand combat. I mean, Klingons are supposed to be so much more stronger than humans. I know somebody threw out there, well, if they wanted him to get off the ship with Ash, then they wouldn't have put up too much of a fight. So maybe that's the argument. But the real story here is what they do to Mudd. So,
right. So he's like, take me with you, and they're like, nah, bruh, you suck. And they left him behind. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what happened. And
right.
Mudd's like, I'm gonna find you, Starfleet! I will find you!
Well, and it shows, I mean, this is very true to Mudd's character. So if anybody goes back and you've watched the original series, you're going to want to go back and watch the original series. Mudd was in 2 of the original series episodes plus an episode of the animated series. He has a huge, rich backstory in Star Trek. He's really a character that you want to know about. And he has this ability where he kind of loses his mind towards the end of these episodes, where he just, he's very selfish, but he also is very good at protecting himself and getting himself out of bad situations.
He's a survivor, bro. He's like a cockroach.
Just like he said, yep.
Like in the words of Indiana Jones, I'm like a bad penny. I keep showing up.
Nice.
Yeah, so they left him there, man. And, the way the disruptors or phasers or whatever the heck the Klingons have, when they shoot the Klingons, they explode into, like, green, like, vapor or blood or guts. What is that?
I'm assuming it's just biological particles.
Okay, another question. Didn't we have a criticism in the first 2 episodes that the Klingons' blood was not green, it was red?
No, I didn't.
I remember the Klingons' blood not being green.
Okay,
but it appears it is green.
If that's blood, you think that's blood?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think there's a good explanation of what it is. I mean, it's basically someone's being, completely obliterated to the point of there's nothing left.
Right. Wait. In the original Star Trek, it was the Vulcan blood was green, right?
Vulcan's blood is green.
What color was Klingon blood again? Like purple or something?
Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Thinking back, I'm not sure. When Worf got cut, what happened? No, I think it was just red.
He just never got cut. He was too boss.
He's that tough. I don't think they're a different color.
Okay.
I think they're red.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think about this effect? You like it?
I thought it was okay. Apparently those weapons are set to kill at all times.
Clearly.
Which
they,
is a little
they carry disruptors, right? And Star Trek carries phasers.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm trying to just figure out what I think of this. I think it's, I guess, what Klingons will look like when they've been vaporized. Apparently it's green particles of dust.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we see L'Rell, Captain L'Rell, and she's like, are you going to leave me after all we've been through? They have this weird, like, sexual thing going on, right?
So she was like, I guess, yeah. Exactly. I guess you just
right?
put it on
Is that what it is?
Exactly. Yeah, she's just, he said she's taken a liking to me. So I don't know. I thought it was a little weird that he left him in the hallway, and then she just kind of showed up like she knew he was there or something. It's kind of an odd scene. The one thing that throws me off about Maker Morgan's theory that there's something going on where this is actually Vok in disguise is that scene, because I'm not exactly sure, unless even that captain doesn't realize that the human is actually Vok. Maybe Vok's playing it to that degree. Maybe she's not in on it.
Maybe they're trying to sell it, bro.
But there's nobody to sell it to. The captain's not there. Captain's looking for he's gone. He's on another place.
When he was punching her, she wasn't even drying. He wasn't even drying blood. And he was he's furiously punching her.
Wow, he's a human. She's a Klingon. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he looks. I mean, they didn't. I mean, unless they orchestrated to some great. I mean, you have to agree that Lorca is left the scene. He says, "I'll be back for you." But I just don't.
Oh, I bet you. Okay, so I bet you he was like, "Go on, Captain," because he needed her to give him something.
I don't know. It seems awfully
Maybe
forced.
when she was on top of him, she slipped him something. I don't know, man.
No, I just don't. I think that's where the hole is in Maker Morgan's prediction. But you know what? Here's the thing: is I still feel like that could be what happens, and the writers just missed it because the writers have made quite a few mistakes on this show already. So it's not like I think that couldn't have happened, and they just didn't think about what's the motivation for having this scene. What they wanted us to do is they wanted us to fight for Ash. They're trying to find little moments where they can have us go, yay, Ash, we love Ash. Ash is great. Oh,
Go,
Ash is wonderful.
Yeah,
Ash,
yeah.
Ash is fuck.
Ash.
Oh my God, I hate. So that's what
Right.
they're looking for. But the problem is anytime you write things where you have to sacrifice truth or reality in order to, it's basically a forced plot device. So if that little scene there, if he ends up being Bach and she knew he was Bach, then that was poorly written. If Ash had hidden, or Bach had, and that's who he is, was hiding his identity even from these Klingons. And by the way, nobody's on board with the Klingons, right? Bach isn't exactly friends with all the Klingons. Nobody likes him, right? He's basically an outcast now.
Right.
So it's possible that he's hiding it. So I'm not trying to punch holes in Maker Morgan's story or punch holes in the writers. It's possible that this whole thing works, but there are definitely some questions to have answered.
Okay, well, the captain rounds the corner and throws a shot at her, and for the first time this episode, he missed. I guess it
hit her in the cheek.
It ricochets off the ship or something, hits her in the cheek, and she's on the ground screaming in pain.
There you go, red blood.
Is that red or is that like burn?
Looks for I don't know.
Anyways, they get on the TIE fighter. I mean, what was it?
What?
I didn't mean TIE fighter. Sorry. They look like TIE fighters. The Klingon, I want to say shuttle, but it's not. It's probably like a Klingon, like.
They called it a
fighter
Klingon
jet.
Warship. No, Klingon. I don't know what they called it. I can't remember. It was basically a Raider.
Klingon Raider.
Yeah.
They jump in the Raider and they're heading off. At this point, they don't even know the Discovery is there. They're just trying to get away, right?
Yeah, they're just trying to escape.
Okay, there's a shot of it. What do you think about this, Shane?
I mean, I kind of like that they showed how smart Saru is.
Love
that he's
that.
able to.
I'm saying, what do you think about the ship, the Klingon Raider?
Oh, I'm not exactly sure why it has wings.
Right? Okay.
It seems a little weird in space.
And like the wings are like turned up, right? They're
It
turned up a
looks
little bit,
like,
or they move a little bit. Or they look sort of like dragonflies or something.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There was a great old episode where Tom Paris found this old ship, right, in this junkyard, and they're like, the designs on this thing have absolutely no purpose at all in spaceflight. And he's like, yeah, but it looks cool. So maybe that's what they were going for here.
Okay, I can see that. All right, cool. So after that, though, Saru figures it out through deduction that these ships are chasing the other ship, so that lead ship must be Captain Lorca. That was great. God, I love Saru, man. And they contact that ship. The captain's like, "Hey guys, beam us up!"
Right.
And lower your key shields, Captain. They beam him aboard, and they say, and Saru saves the day. This shot of Saru sitting in the captain chair, full center on the screen. I gotta be honest, it made me feel good. I really like this character. I hope he's part of Star Trek for a long time. All right, so now we get a nice shot of Ash, but he's like, out of the frying pan into the fire, bud, because now you're aboard this ship that when the target's on its back and we're in war. And he's like, I would be nowhere else, Captain. He's like super loyal to this captain he met yesterday.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. That this is why it screams Bach, maybe. but also maybe when he heard the story about, and Harry Mudd knew the captain's story. We didn't talk about this when we should have, but the captain basically on his last ship, we learned that he's the only survivor of the last ship that he captained. And so he basically self-destructed his ship with everybody on board except him so that they wouldn't be captured by the Klingons, taken to Kronos and tortured, so he said. So maybe Ash can relate to that and has respect for this whole, because Ash is basically telling him, this is the perfect ship for me because I'm hopeless too, or whatever. So
I gotta be honest, to me it sounds like the Klingons were closing in, they had no way out, Klingons are gonna capture the entire ship, the captain sets us up to destruct, then takes a shuttle by himself and splits.
Okay, yeah.
That's what that sounded like to me.
Really? Okay.
I mean, he blew up his ship so it wouldn't get captured by the Klingons. So he set the self-destruct and then split, leaving his entire crew there to die?
Yes.
Well, that makes no sense.
Sure it does. He's selfish. He's not a great captain.
Oh.
He cares more about he doesn't want to die, of course, but he knows he can't get everybody off the ship. What's he going to do? And nobody's going to understand what he's about to do. Nobody's going to buy off on the fact that he just killed everybody, right? So he has to escape alone, right? Blow up his ship. Now, how Harry Mudd knows this is the case, anybody's question. It might be why he's working off the grid on Discovery and in, Section 31 Black, whatever we want to call it, because nobody else in Starfleet. I mean, if anybody else knew that, nobody would want to work with him.
Yeah, who'd want to work with someone like that? And now Ash knows that, right?
And now Ash knows that, yeah. And he seems to almost like him more as a result of it, which leads to this whole weird...
Which also screams Klingon to me.
It does. It screams... Well, or I don't even know if if it is Vok, he's just a fantastic actor, and he's trying to... I don't know. It's going to be interesting the way it breaks down. All I do know, let me tell you, I'm saying I don't know a lot. What I do know is that there are a lot of questions that need to be answered for us to understand.
Okay, well, Captain Saru first officer, but Captain at this time. Okay, we got him. Let's jump out of here. Are you ready, Lieutenant Stamets? He says, we can jump. So when he asks them, have you gotten, is it ready? He's referring to the beast, Man-Bear Pig. But Stamets perfectly deflects and says, we can use the spore drive. He doesn't answer him directly.
This was a total surprise to me, and I thought it was a fantastic.
Yes, I love it.
It was great. I love this. This is a Star Trek thing to do, and it made me actually, for the second time, like this character.
Same here. Yes, for the first time for me, I actually liked Paul Stamets.
Well, when he took orders from Lieutenant Saru earlier in the episode, despite what the doctor was saying, I liked that. And this now, I'm like, okay, I'm all in with this guy.
He's a Starfleet officer, right? Yes. Okay.
He made the sacrifice.
Yeah. So he injects himself with the retrovirus or whatever it is that gave him the DNA, and he jumps into the containment, and he uses himself as the navigation. That was great. Right. Suru is looking at him like, wow, this sacrifice is impressive. And then we have that conversation, but he's okay. His life signs are low, but he's seemingly gonna make it. He even makes a joke like, "Hey guys." Then we jump into this scene where Suru goes to talk to Michael. Michael was right the entire time, but she was also insubordinate.
Right.
He comes to talk to her and he explains to her why he has a problem with her. Instead of like the whole you mutinied on our ship and started this big giant war, he's like, you got to be first officer when I didn't. I thought that was weird.
He felt like he had something taken away from him. So he was basically
extremely selfish.
But but put yourself in his shoes. If you're passionate about what you do and you get looked over basically because the captain decided that, hey, I like this person. She wasn't even in Starfleet. Right? And you took her on board, basically raised her up, and Saru accepted his place. He accepted his role as second officer, and he said, okay, I'll have to wait my turn. You'll get your own ship. and then I will get to finally be with the captain and learn all the great things that she knows and become an amazing Starfleet officer.
Right.
But Michael stole that from him by getting her killed, and so he's showing his weakness, which is good that he has weakness, because now he's a real character. He's a well-rounded individual.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that to me.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Now Michael gives the last will and testament, which included the telescope. Sorry, I don't know why I said periscope. Telescope to Lieutenant Saru, and he responds by saying, "Now go fix Man Bear Pig. Go get him healthy. Go save his life." And Michael and Tilly, they do that by pouring a bunch of spores over the hibernating Man Bear Pig and releasing him into space.
And letting him go.
And then promptly letting him go.
Which begs the question of, did Michael once again do something she wasn't supposed to do?
I mean, it seems that way, right?
I mean, it's a great happy ending for everybody who's like, oh, they're hurting the poor Man Bear Pig. You know, we got to let him go and live, and he's an individually sentient, right? So all those things makes you feel real good. But bottom line is, how's Captain Lorca going to feel about this? Do they have enough information to be able to do, I guess we've proven that a human can do it. So maybe, but does she know that when she's letting it go? I don't know. It just, did they sacrifice the truth for a happy ending? I don't know. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. I'm happy Man Bear Pig is living his life.
She let this thing go against orders once again, and now they have no safe way, for humans anyways, to use the spore drive.
That we know of, right. So it's, did she, she's going to go back and be like, Saru, you told me to save his life. I mean, I guess Saru said to save his life, so this was the only way.
Okay. Now, this is when the reveal happens that the Doctor and Lieutenant Stamets are a couple.
Boom! I didn't see this, man.
No, yeah, they didn't seem like they liked each other very, very much. And now
you know,
they're a couple.
But now going back and looking a couple episodes ago, the scene where he's getting his nose repaired, now that bickering almost is like maybe tension between a couple. I mean, I guess you could see that. But now even going back to this episode a little sooner, where the Doctor says to Michael, I can't even talk to him. So,
right.
I still didn't see that as that, but apparently they're a couple, and we learned that, and yet another surprise. So Stamets gets, Man Bear Pig action and launches gets them out of there from the Klingons, and now the Doctor and Stamets are a couple, which totally surprised me.
Now here's the final surprise. Mirror Universe.
Yeah. Okay. So of course this is a throwback to what we're thinking is, anyways, a throwback to the Mirror episode from the original series, from season 2.
He walked away from that mirror, bro.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is what we're thinking what it has to be, right? So they may have opened the door to the Mirror Universe.
So I thought they opened the door to the Mirror Universe like 3 episodes ago.
Well, no, I think you suggested that maybe they're operating in a mirror universe. But now they're maybe showing proof that there is. I mean, I don't know.
It's so foreshadowy, though. And even on After Trek, the host was like, when he was asking questions on Twitter, he's like, what's up with the mirror thing at the end? He goes, well, you know how mirrors work in Star Trek. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'm like, oh, come on. This is definitely a mirror universe.
Right. I mean, it's obviously, especially because you've got the picture is of kind of a horror film version of Stamets smiling with a lingering smile after he'd walked away, almost like whoa. So I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a lot more to come. I mean, it's definitely a throwback to Mirror.
Bro, maybe he popped them in when they teleported. Maybe he popped them into the Mirror Universe because he has no idea how to navigate this thing.
Maybe, but in the Mirror Universe, if you recall, Spock had a little goatee.
Right, because the evil version Spock of us always have goatees, right?
Right. So this character really.
So, bro, are you the evil version of Shane? Are you the mirror
there's-
universe of Shane right now?
I'm both because in both universes, Shane has a goatee.
Okay.
So sorry, but they should have really put a goatee on Stamets. That would have been fantastic.
No, that would have been way too revealing.
Just as a throwback. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know it. I mean, it's
Well,
or something weird has happened and there's something wrong. No, it's us, the viewing audience, seeing it. So it's reality.
Right. So we're gonna. I know though that we're going to get to a mirror episode if it's really the mirror universe. I think it is. Where as one character is definitely going to have a goatee as a throwback because they've been putting in all kinds of weird Easter eggs like tribbles and Gorn and stuff like that.
Okay.
One main character will have a goatee, and it will be the one character you don't believe. Like maybe it's Michael. Maybe Michael has a goatee, or Saru. You know, somebody like just ridiculous. I shouldn't have a goatee. Is gonna have a goatee.
I don't know if they're going to do that, but they
what
definitely...
if Saru is in it? But he has like those catfish things where it looks like a goatee, you know, but it's not, you know. Like it's a trap from Star Wars.
Well, I just think it's interesting that they used a mirror here, because in the original mirror episode, it was a transporter malfunction.
Right.
So okay. So what does the mirror have to do with this? Why? I mean,
I think
why a mirror?
That's telling the fans. That's foreshadowing for the fans because the whole purpose of the mirror universe, it wasn't like it was actually a universe inside of a mirror.
Right.
They called the mirror universe because it was an alternate dimension, an alternate reality of so like the Star Trek reality, that was an alternate version of reality. And in that version of reality, they call it mirror because things were so bad on that side that everything existed, but it existed with the wrong intentions.
Right.
Because things had happened that changed things. Like, I remember they said that, like...
And it was just Kirk, too, by the way.
Well, no, Enterprise did the mirror universe, too.
What I'm saying is it was Kirk. We had...
in TOS, Kirk went over to the mirror universe.
In TOS, Kirk into the mirror, and his mirror came to, the present universe.
Right. And the Enterprise and other things, they literally just went to that universe.
Right.
But I guess I remember how it worked with Enterprise was basically everything was fine up until the moment when the Vulcans landed on Earth. Instead of reaching out to them peacefully, Cochrane was an evil a-hole and shot and killed the Vulcans and took their ship, and then humans became the dominant species, subjecting the Vulcans like servants.
Right.
That was the change. Everything was the same up until that moment. So what Zephyrin decided to do at that moment, the evil version of Zephyrin just did something completely different than our version of Zephyrin Cochrane.
Well, so what we're saying is if they hold true to canon, the mirror universe, those characters are evil.
Right. They should be evil, or different moral barometers.
Right.
know?
So is Captain Lorca is going to be good?
Because assuming if Captain Lorca is evil, then his version, his mirror universe, should be a nicer guy.
You would think.
Maybe he's a cadet, and like, oh, if Tilly's the nicest person in this universe, she's probably the most evil version of that universe.
She's running the ship, man.
She's running the ship. She's having people murdered. She has like one eye, and she has like a scar going through it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it, man. That's it for the show.
All right.
Somehow, our episode of a review ended up being way longer than last week, and I purposely tried to run through it faster. I don't know how it happens every time.
You know what? A lot of it's me this week, so I apologize to everybody who's like, "Oh, that was such a chore." But I just felt like we need to, we're here to talk about what's happening, why it's happening, and it wouldn't be good to just go through and say, "Oh yeah, remember this scene, remember this scene, remember this scene." Just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, because that's not what you guys are here for. You guys want to know what we think, what we found out. You
I agree.
The nuts and bolts.
100%.
So I know it's long, but stick with us.
Stick with it, guys. Okay, we'll be back on Wednesday for the Flash recap review, and then on Thursday for Survivor and Friday for the Orville. Please join us for all 3 of those days.
And don't forget Legends also on Wednesday.
And just to let you know, I'm going out of town for a couple days. A client is giving me a access to his boat, and me and the wife are going to go fishing.
Nice.
I'm leaving in about 2 or 3 hours, and I'll be back early Wednesday in time for the review. So I'm going to be gone basically today and tomorrow. But I will be back in time to talk about The Flash. So,
well, you go have a great time, and I will take care of everything here.
There's nothing to take care of. There's no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday. Okay?
Yeah, but, I'm here for it.
All right. Love you guys. Please subscribe, comment, like, share, hit the alert button, all that good stuff. Don't forget about our 1600 sub challenge. And we'll be back on Wednesday.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week on Wednesday.
This week on Wednesday.
Yeah. All the same. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, whatever. Okay, you guys get it.
Yeah!